episode, Melina is going to be demoing her Tiropita, which is a traditional Greek cheese pie. And so you'll see all the ingredients on the screen right now. And so if you haven't yet and you're planning to cook along, go ahead and gather those. There really wasn't much other prep involved, so just get your ingredients, go ahead and get your kitchen tools. And if you do have Filo dough that was frozen, go ahead and take that out of the freezer now so it has a bit of time to thaw before the demo.
I'm going to introduce you to one of my favorite foods to eat when I'm in Greece. It's a staple dish pretty much there. It is called Tiropita. Can everybody say that with me, please? You have to roll your R, Tiropita. Pita in Greece means pie. So anytime if they say to you, if you're at a restaurant and it says pites, it means they have some kind of savory or sweet pie. Pies in Greece can be either savory or sweet. Savory pies are pretty much a staple in the Greek household, especially during the winter months. It's you basically use your seasonal vegetables and make any type of pie you can create from the things you have in your yard or your refrigerator. So I wanted to do the Tiropita, the cheese pie, for you because in my house, at least, this is all of our favorite. And it's the basic staple to anything else you want to add to it. You always want to start with your basic cheese ingredients, and then you can factor in if you want to make a spinach pie, aka the spanakopita, you're going to add your spinach. If you want to do a leek pie, you're going to take your basic cheeses, saute your leeks, some scallions, some dill, throw it right in, zucchini. I mean, the list goes on and on. Any type of vegetable that you would like to add to this is going to come out amazing. I've done it with potatoes and zucchini. I do sweet pies constantly. Like I make up creations like there's no tomorrow. So I want to get started just with the basic ingredients here, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about Filo dough. Hold on, I got to get something to clean my hands. Okay, so we are going to get in our bowl our ingredients. You guys all have my cheese pie ingredient list with you. We're going to do basic Feta cheese. We have our cream cheese and ricotta cheese. So in my bowl, and you want to keep your ingredients room temperature, because to work with your hands on freezing cold ingredients out of the refrigerator, your hands are like frozen from the cold. And your feta cheese, you always want to make sure it's crumbled. Okay, now the reason I use my hands is because I need to feel every ingredient in here. I kind of make feta cheese like my star of the show. Like this is their show. This is feta cheese's moment. So I don't want anybody to really know what else is in here. I want you to take a bite and say, wow, that's so good. I taste the feta. There's some other hidden ingredient in there. I can't really tell what it is. That's why I mix with my hands, because I want everything to be so finely incorporated that you can't tell who the other people are in this little ingredient. Feta cheese definitely needs to stand out because it's Tiropita. That's what it's here for. So you want to make sure that cream cheese is all incorporated nicely. You don't want chunks of cream cheese sticking out. And now we're going to add our egg. And cheese is a huge part of the Mediterranean diet, especially on the islands where they don't tend to eat a lot of meats. Cheese is there for protein, for dairy. So we do tend to eat a lot of cheeses throughout the day, starting from breakfast to appetizer all the way through dinner. There's always some kind of cheese put out on the table, which is my favorite thing to eat when I'm in Greece. Okay, so our mixture is all ready. I'm gonna get you started on our Filo dough, which I know a lot of people get nervous with Filo Dough, but I don't want you to be nervous today. I'm gonna walk you through everything. I actually worked for the first time in my life with homemade Filo Dough at 5 years old. My tenant that lived with us in the Bronx, she used to watch me when I got home from kindergarten, and she would always be rolling out her own dough, and have been fascinated with it since then. So whenever I smell the homemade Filo Dough being made, I don't know if it's the cornstarch or the flour, it literally transports me right back to her little kitchen and her rolling out this dough. Like I can roll my own dough. I still can't roll it as good as she did. She was amazing. So
I love that story, Melina.
Yeah.
We have a question for you. So Linda asked, do you prefer to buy feta in a block?
Well, I prefer to eat feta from a block, but when I'm working with using it in a dish, it's easier to use the crumbled cheese because it's already crumbled up for you, and you don't want to sit there crunching it and crumbling it down. But when I buy it for home, I buy it in a block, and I mean, I drizzle olive oil on it, oregano. Sometimes I'll do honey on it and just eat it right. Like that's my meal. I come home and I'm like, oh, thank goodness there's good feta cheese in my refrigerator, and that's my dinner.
Yum.
So it depends on what you're using it for, basically.
Perfect.
So I'm going to use for you today, I'm not going to roll out my own Filo Dough because that'll be a whole other show. I'm going to use Kanto's Foods Filo Dough today. And Filo Dough, just so you know, has different numbers on it. And it starts from the number 4, which is the thinnest. There's a number 5, there's a number 7, there's a number 10, which is considered the country dough. So that's your thick filo. So if you want to make it look like you are from the village in Greece and you actually did make it yourself, you want to go with the number 10. And you can tell people you made it yourself, they'll probably believe you. And then there's also another one that's more like it's like a Greek style of puff pastry, just not as flaky. But there are different. I'm going to use the number 4 today for this one, but with a cheese pie or any kind of pies, I find the heartier pies like that have a lot of vegetables or meats inside of them, I tend to go with the number 7 just so that it really holds in all the ingredients. Baking wise as well, you can go with a number 4 or number 5. So we have our Filo Dough here. Got our pan ready. We have our butter melted. Butter, we always use butter working with Filo Dough. Butter's huge in Greece with baking. Butter cookies are very, very famous throughout Greece.
Melina, while you're getting the Filo Dough out, so we have some questions about the secret cinnamon shortbread cookie that we were talking about earlier. Do you know how to spell it by chance? I think people are trying to look it up.
Yes, it's kind of hard. It's Moustokura. Moustokura. It's a tongue twister, but it's a good one. And there's different kinds too. So depending on what kind of cookie you had, because some people make them hard, so they're a good like dunking cookie into coffee or tea, and some people make them on the soft side, so they're very cakey. The cakey version does not use sugar. The hard version actually uses sugar. I found that out. I was searching and searching for that soft cakey cookie, and the cakey one does not use sugar at all. Okay, so we want to basically get our first layer of butter down using our nice little pastry brush. Thank you, girls, for sending this to me.
Yes.
So you just want to layer the bottom so that nothing sticks. And I did cut the Filo Dough in half because of the size of my pan. This is a 1/4 sheet. Normally at home, I make like industrial size pies, so I leave the Filo Dough whole. But here we want to just cut it so that everything fits neatly. So I did cut it in half. We're going to just layer. We're going to do probably about 6 layers on the bottom. Can you do me a favor and this needs to go in the microwave. I just need to warm the butter up a little because it did get a little hard for me. So we're going to do about 6 layers on the bottom, and I'm going to show you how to envelope in the ingredients so that the cheese doesn't ooze out when it's baking. So you want to just layer. Your first one's going to go flat down. Your second one is going to hang over like this off the side. So we're gonna do that on each side. And you wanna layer in every layer. The reason we layer is because if you don't put a little bit of butter or olive oil, you can use as well, the layers will become very soggy. They won't bake crispy golden brown. They will be on the soggier side. So just important to keep the layers nice and moist. Not too much, but just enough. Okay. Here's my butter back. And Filo Dough, I know a lot of people do get nervous to work with it. If it's a fresh Filo, it's gonna be beautiful like this, where it's not coming out of the package crumbled. It's very soft on the hands. So you wanna get to, if you can get to a Mediterranean market somewhere that would sell Filo, you want it out of the refrigerator and not out of the freezer, because the freezer one is the one that tends to break when you thaw it.
It almost felt like very soft tissue paper.
Yeah,
when I worked with it for the first time.
And I actually just 2 days ago mastered my first gluten-free homemade Filo dough. It came out so delicious, we couldn't even tell the difference between the regular and the gluten-free. So I will be going to Greece in September. Does anybody want to join me? I will be there working on my first cookbook, all about Filo dough, doing a little photo shoot, and I am actually going to be filming a promo video for pitching to a network all about Greece and the little areas that I'm going to. So if anybody would like to join me, you are more than welcome to come aboard, because we have adventures set up like you don't even know. All right, so I'm gonna go in and layer our dough right now. So I'll put this down so you can see. Oh, beautiful.
Ooh, that looks beautiful.
Yeah, so much cheese. It's one of my favorite things to make. This is my first, this was the first actually Filo dough creation that I ever made, because it's always been my favorite. Growing up, my aunt always made the best tiropita, and I swore in my 20s I was gonna learn how to make my own, and I did, and I nailed it. And everybody always tells me that mine is the best. Maybe they're just lying, but I don't think so.
Will you tell us what's in it again? So I know the feta.
Yeah, so this is feta cheese and cream cheese, ricotta cheese, basically, and your 2 eggs in here. And depending on how big of a tray you want to do, you can double the recipe. If you're doing it, if you're having a party, you can make this the day before, 2 days before, and don't bake it out till the day of the event. You can layer the whole thing, get it in the fridge, and bake it out, you know, just before the event. So it's a great little appetizer to any type of party, feeds a lot of people. It's a nice wow factor. Oh, what's in there?
And it actually was quite simple.
Yeah, it's simple. And like I said, it's so easy to add other things to this. You know, like I said, whatever you have in your refrigerator, vegetable wise, get everything incorporated. I do tend to sometimes cook or saute the vegetables before I add them into this.
Oh, okay, so I think you might have just answered this question, but Melinda said, if you decide to add other ingredients like spinach, do you mix it in, or do you layer it on top of the cheese? And then
everything right in the bowl and mix everything so they're all well incorporated, because you want everything nice and well assembled inside the pita.
And then would you cook the vegetables before doing that, or just
some I do. For some reason with the spinach, I saute my scallion first in a little butter, but I do use the spinach. I do use the spinach raw, but you have to be very careful with the vegetables. Spinach especially, you need to strain. If you're using frozen, you thaw it, it needs to be strained so that the liquid does not go through and make the recipe watery. So strain your spinach very well. When I do leek pie, I do cook the leeks, salt and pepper, a little scallion as well, butter, and sauteed in a pan. So the leeks I do cook as well. The spinach I don't. Zucchini, I do cook. I do make a really good pepper, and it's a chicken, Tiropita it's called. It's a chicken pie with peppers. I cook all those vegetables. We could go on for hours here with my creations.
Well, what about, so someone asked about herbs. Do you ever add herbs to the Tiropita?
I do, not to this, not to my cheese pie, and not really to my spanakopita, the spinach pie, but I do know a lot of people do use a lot of dill with the spinach pie. My recipe does not call for it, but you can always add it if you like it.
I did add some dill to mine, but I'm Polish, so that's, we love our dill.
I'm, you know, with my dill, like I like it in my tzatziki. I like it in a couple other Greek vegetable dishes, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because the way I grew up eating spanakopita, it never had it. So I tend to leave it out. But when I do a vegetable pie, which is actually my friend Diane Kochilis's recipe, which is her Icarian pie, which her longevity pie, all vegetables, and that one I do use dill and fresh parsley, and that it's delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to show you right now is how to close this. So we put a couple layers down, and now I want to seal up this little envelope so none of our cheeses sneak out on us.
There's a question if you ever use kefalotiri.
If I ever use kefalotiri, I do use kefalotiri in another pie that I make that's with the leeks. It is from a recipe from northern Greece in the area of Kozani, and they are very famous for their leek pies, and that does tend to use that cheese in it, and it's very, very good. So we want to take our little butter knife here and just make sure we get all the edges in good. I'm a stickler for beautiful edges on my cheese pie. So when I train people, yeah, they get mad at me. They're like, what do you mean this isn't perfect? Nope, you need to fix the right-hand corner, does not meet my standards. But if you do it at home, don't worry, I won't yell at you, I promise. So now the rest of the layers, we're just gonna keep tucking and buttering. So we want our top layer to look just beautiful before it goes in the oven. They're actually filming right now on the island of Spetses that I go to. So if you look it up online, they are filming Knives Out too. So Kate Hudson is there, Daniel Craig is there. So there's a lot of action going on my little island these days, and I'm missing out on all the fun until I get there in September.
When are you going, Melina? September?
I'm going September, the weekend of Labor Day weekend, I leave. Not sure when I'm coming back.
Maybe never. Is this an open-ended?
Yeah. According to William Sonoma, they're like, you better get back real quick. The holiday season is coming. We need you. Say hi. So see, it doesn't need so much butter, just enough to give it that nice buttery taste mixed with the cheeses. It's so delicious. All right, so I think this could be our last little layer here.
Yours is much prettier than the one that I made, but.
Well, now you have my secret trick to tuck your corners in, and now you'll make it perfect too. And this cheese pie too in Greece, you can eat it, like I said, olive oil on top, but to make a cheese pie and then drizzle even honey on top of it, it's like you get your sweet and savory. It's delicious.
People can drizzle their slide ridge honey.
Yes, I was so excited when I'm going to do that for you. See, I brought my little honey.
Product placement.
Okay, so we just want to get it nice and buttered up here on top. And then the other trick before it goes in the oven, you want to score it, because Filo dough, when it comes out of the oven, if you don't cut it, it gets very messy. So you just want to depending on, you know, how big you want your pieces. Just score the top. I'm not touching the bottom of the pan.
So you don't need to cut through all the
No,
way to the bottom?
Just want to
Okay.
make sure the top layer at least gets cut, because I mean, it's not awful if you don't, but it just will be very messy when you're trying to cut the slices. It'll start to flake on you. So if they're already pre-scored, you're going to go in and the piece is going to pop out just beautifully.
Lift it.
So
Look how beautiful.
Wow.
is pre-scored, ready to go into the oven. And you want to cook this at 350. Everybody always makes fun of me. Melina, you cook everything at 350. And I said, that's my thing. When in doubt, 350 it out. That's it. 350 that's my standard baking instructions. It's 350. So we put this in for 350 in our oven. And then when it comes out, it's going to look like this.
Oh.
So you want it to have this beautiful golden brown color to it. It's nice and flaky. It smells so good.
Wow. Will you show us a cut piece real quick?
Yeah. Do you have a plate?
And then we'll bring Serena on to teach us some nutrition. That looks perfect.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat is saying, "Yum, looks delicious, looks amazing."
We'll make it together one day. I'm gonna set up the plan for Greece for us. Don't worry. So, like I said, if you want to take, can you open that?
Oh, Lori asked, how long do you bake it for?
It's usually about 45 minutes. You want it to just get that nice, beautiful golden brown. And like I said, if you want to just take
Oh, look at that.
honey and drizzle right over, this is so delicious. It just gives you that sweet savory in every bite. So here you
Oh
go.
my
Here's
goodness.
my cheese pie, my tiropita.